In this video, we're going to make a JavaFX application, but we're going to set up in a way that we can use it as a template for other projects. And so let's start by creating a new project. Make sure we select JavaFX near the top, and I'll go next. And I'll call this, I guess, M11. I'll call it a lab demo template. And I'll just go finished. So I have the stock JavaFX project from IntelliJ. And so there's not much to it. So we're going to get busy adding stuff. So I'm going to right click on this folder and go new directory. So I'm right clicked on the project folder. And I call this directory lib. Now what I've been noticing with creating templates is that if a directory can't be empty, it has to have something inside it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Window Explorer and go to the J drive. So I'll just bring it over here. And good. I remembered where it was. So let's go to JGST or go to share file if J is for some reason not around. I'm going to go down to mod 11, and in here I have a lib folder, and I have a fake jar to put into the folder. And I want to do this so that I can register it as a library. So I'm going to take this, right click, copy, and I'll paste it on the lib. And go OK. Now I have a jar in there, and this is a proper jar. There's not much in it except a text file, but it is in what's called a jar format, which is a zip file. So then I can right click on the folder and go add as library, and it's going to be a directory of jar files. That's what that option meant. And so I want to, even though in this demo I'm not going to have jars in here, I'm setting this up as like a generic template that I could use. So lib is something that we've encountered on a couple of projects. If you're going to build something big, you don't want to have to write all the code yourself, so you probably will be using someone's library. So I'm going to go down here and actually change some more stuff. So I'm going to right click on the source folder and make what's called a new package. Now I'm doing a bit of a cheat here. I know a package is a directory, and I'm going to use these directories to hold data and images. So one of them will be called data. And it's important that I actually put a file in here. So I'm going to go right click and go new text file. I'm going to call it data.txt. I'll just type this is a test in it, so that the file has something in it. And I'll close it, and I'm going to make another package and close off all these, or right click, go close all. So highlight the source folder again, new package, and I call it images. Now I'm going to get a file again from the out drive, and if I go up a little bit, images folder, I'm going to grab this globe PNG. So I'll copy this and right click paste. And now that there's a file in each of these directories, they should hang around. I was noticing that it seems that IntelliJ, if the directory is empty, it doesn't bother making it part of the template. So by putting a seed file in there, they should hang around. Now what I have to do is I have to change this particular naming convention. I don't think sample is a good name for a package. So I'm going to go down and go refactor rename, and I'm going to call it bcit.gis, and then that flips it to the top, and then I'm going to go rename these. Now because this is JavaFX, it's a stage, and this is more of a visual cue or reminder to myself that I'm in a JavaFX application, not in a Swing application. So again, refactor rename. I'll call it main stage. If I was in a Swing application, my tendency is to call it mainframe. And in here, I'll call this main stage.fxml. So refactor rename. I'll go main stage. And I'll call this main stage controller. Again, refactor rename. And so for me, they all start with the same prefix, main stage, and that means they kind of all are grouped together. Because if I had a bigger application, I could have more dialogues, right? And then they'll all be, all the files related to a dialogue will be sort of clustered together in the list, which is something I desire. And I'm going to go into my main stage here. I'm going to change the height. So I'll go 800 by 600. I'll change the title to map this. And I'm going to do a little thing is I'm going to take advantage of that icon. So I'm going to go primary stage dot get icons dot add. And I want to add an image based on the one I put in the image directory. So I'll go new. I'm going to be careful at this part here. We got to make sure it's a JavaFX scene image and not AWT. So slowly pick the correct one off the list. I think it's remembered where I was. So make sure it says image and then JavaFX scene.image. And I just got to give it sort of a string that represents a path. And I'm going to go images. globe.png. So that's that file I put into this directory over here. Okay. And that should change the application icon. Is that enough to change? Well, to test. Now one thing, it's a few things are broken here, so I'm going to go up and edit this configuration. And it's just, this part didn't get renamed. And so this will show me all the things that are runnable, and I'll just go apply and OK. Now it can run, and I'll just do a simple test. I'm looking for the application to pop a little bit bigger on the screen, and it has. I can see that the map, this title, is in the top, and I can also see that the icon is here as well. Now if you look down in your taskbar, mine's off screen right now, you'll probably notice that there is an icon in the taskbar, right, with this same kind of globe image. So not only is it used here in the corner, it also represents the icon that you have. I'll see if I can, this may not be elegantly done. We'll see. No, it didn't quite work that way. Oh, here it is. So it's not showing up here because it's black on black. But you'll notice that that this icon, the same icon, shows up down below. And this may not seem important, but this is how we, on an everyday basis, recognize what application is actually running, okay, and which one I need to go to. So actually, to your end users, it is important. So we'll leave that as is. I want to do maybe one more thing, and that is to change out the border pane in that. So something I want to do is I want to go to my main stage controller, and I'm going to get it to implement small I implements initializable. And again, it has to be javafx.xml. This is a hook in so that you can actually get stuff done on the interface before it's shown to the user. Your interface has been created, it's live, you can talk to it, and then you can like fill a drop-down list with values or something like that. And so we'll implement the method and just select it and go, okay, there's only one. And this gives us a chance to actually go in and get some stuff done. So I'm going to make an @fxml tag that I'll hook up later, and it's going to be a border pane, and I'll just call it border pane. I'm going to Control S to save all, or go File, Save All. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is edit the main fxml file. So there's a built-in scene builder, but we're not going to use it for this part. So what we're going to do is just grab all this code in here, just delete it. Okay. Control S to save it. So File, Save, Save All. And then it's going to right-click and open this up in Scene Builder. And I'm going to drag on a border pane. A really important thing is I can set the controller on the bottom here to main stage controller. File, save that. One last thing I want to do is this border pane that I have here. I'll just roll this up. Take a look at the hierarchy. I want to select on border pane. So not top or left, just at the very root here. And I'm going to set this FX ID to the one I had in code. Now, if you have available FX IDs, you should have a drop-down list here. And I'm going to go border pane. I go File, and go Save. I'll let go there, close that down. Now, I would say from this point in, it's okay to use their internal one. It's just very hard to rip out the grid pane with this version of Scene Builder that IntelliJ has built in that. But right now, our app is sort of hooked up in that, but we should run it to see if we get any errors. Okay. So if that hook between our code border pane and our GUI border pane is okay, then we won't see any red on the bottom. Okay. So this is the template that we want to make, and I'll just close this down. And now we need to save this as a template. So remember, File, Save All just in case, sync everything up just in case. And I'll go Tools, Save Project as a template. And the window doesn't come up, which is good, actually. Because what you have to do, in all honesty, is you have to get rid of this file right here, this description.html file. Just delete it. And I'll close it, just collapse it, not close. And I will go Tools, Save Project as Template. Now I get the dialog to save. Okay, a little bit of a bug there for them. So we'll call this GIST 7010 JavaFX. I'll call it Template 01. You can give it a description, right? JavaFX with border pane and DIRs. Okay, so that's a border pane with DIRs, and we'll go OK. And so what I'll do now is I'll make a new project. So File, New Project. I'll use user defined this time, right? And our GST 7010 JavaFX template 1. And I'll just go next. I have to give it a name, so I'm going to call this M11 Lab Demo 02 Map App. So we'll just take a look at what showed up. Hey, our library came across, fantastic. Source, our files are there. So is the data file and the image file. Now right now, I'm looking at the template, so that's an issue. Here's my mapping one. Must have popped in the background. So what did come across? Let's double check. Oh, lib is there. Good. On source, that's all there. That's all there. Now the one thing that isn't there is this run. But if you just click on this class with the little green arrow and then go run, then that'll get populated. And it's going to look like it did before. 800 by 600, that's what we're hoping for. Yeah, bigger. Map this, globe icon, and no red down below. So what I want to do now is add the ArcGIS library to this. So in here, I'm just going to actually go File, Project Structure, and I'm going to go Library, and I'm going to add one. And I'm going to go up to C Apps. Expand this. ArcGIS. I think on Citrix it is SDKs, and you'll find a couple of runtimes. The third one in the list is this one called SDK Java 100. And then we'll go down here to libs. and this will go OK, and then OK. I'm not going to leave it as Liz. I'm going to change the name to ArcGIS. And so now I can use the ArcGIS runtime. Some jars there that help me tie into stuff. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go back to my controller class, main stage, controller, and I'm going to add a variable. And it's going to be an ESRI map view. So a map, capital M. So we can see it in the list there. I'll just call it map view, which is fine. So I'll declare it there, but in the initialize method is where I'll create it. But before that, I'm going to need a base map, and then a map, and then a map view. So I'll go base map is equal to, now they have a bunch of static methods for creating. And I'll go dark gray canvas vector is fine. And now I need a map. So it's called an ArcGIS map. And I'll just call it map at this point, is equal to a new ArcGIS map based on the base layer that I just made. I call it a base layer because it's not really a base map. An ArcGIS map has many layers in it. One of those layers is a base layer, and that. But you know, we could argue over that. And now I need a map view. Now I've already declared the map view, so I just need to go that map view is equal to a new map view. And we don't actually send it anything. This is a draggable component that you could, it's also a scene node that you could drag on in Scene Builder if we added it to the menu. So it needs to be able to be dragged on there empty, so we don't feed it anything. But right after it's created, we can go map view dot set map to the one I just made. And really important thing is to add, now that we have the view, is that we add it to our border pane. So there's our border pane. Dot set center to the map view. Done. So you need a base layer, aka what they call a base map. You need to add build a map with that base layer. You can add other layers, and you can have overlays and graphics containers as well on the map. Then you put that map into a map view, and then you put that map view somewhere on a node, a scene node. In this case, the center of our border pane. So we're just going to run this and see if we get a map. Okay. And so we have one. It's good. So that's working. And so what we're going to do now is add another control to this to give it a little bit more functionality. So what we'll do is right click, open the Scene Builder, and I'm going to add a combo box. So it should be under controls near the top, combo box, and I'm going to add it to the top. You can see how it lights up top. There we go. And we'll have to see if I have an FX ID. I don't. So I'll save this for now. I'll just go back. So I do want to add a combo box ID. So an @f XML tag. And it's going to be of type combo box. And I can set the type. And the type I want it to be is an ESRI basemap dot type. So basemap dot capital T type. I'll just call it combo box. So I've got it declared there. That's what I want to hook to Scene Builder. Control S to save. Again, right click, open the Scene Builder. And I just want to get the FX ID tag set. You can click in here. I got lucky. If you find it hard to get it selected, click in the hierarchy. The FX ID tag has a drop down list, combo box, save and quit. So now they're hooked up. So one thing I can do, this is all map related stuff, so I'll put that together, is I want to populate the combo box. So I can go get the combo box and set its items. Now JavaFX has a bunch of things for going from Java collections to JavaFX collections. So they have FX collections dot observable array list, and I'm going to feed it all the values from the enum. So if I go capital B base map dot type dot values, let's do it again, dot type dot values, that this makes an array of all the values that are possible in the enum. We feed that into observable array list, which flips into an array list, and then basically set that as the array list that backs the combo box. We're going to test it, and what we're looking for here is in the drop down list, do we have some values? And we do. We have all the values in the enum. Fantastic. So now I want to give the ability for the main controller class to listen for the someone changing their selection. Now I need to add a change listener. I've got to be very careful which one I pick. It's a change listener JavaFX beans.value. So it's this one here, and it can take a type. And if I can, I do want to set the type to an ESRI base map. Again, dot type. Now it's going to say, hey, if you want to do that, that interface says you have to have a certain method. So, okay, great, implement it for me. And this is where I'll get busy about switching the base map. But before I can do that, I actually have to hook the combo box to the controller class. In terms of any class could listen to the combo box changing its selection. So I have to make it aware that it's the controller class who's going to be listening. So this is this thing called registration. So I'll go combo box dot get selected model dot set, this is the one I'm looking for, selected item property dot add a listener. And you want this one that says change listener with the little type symbol. And that's going to go this. And this, by this I mean the controller class, and the red went away. It can listen for that because it implements this method. So then what is it that we want to do? Once we've implemented that method, we want to switch the base map. So I'll do one that ESRI does, and that. And so the way they suggest, we'll just do it their way, is they say make a new ArcGIS map. Map is equal to a new ArcGIS map, and then you can go the new value that got sent in, right? Because what they select out of the list just isn't a string, it is an enumerated type, and you got to give it a position to go to on the earth, 0, and I'll say 1 for the LOD, level of detail. Okay, Control Alt L to fix it up, and then what I'll do is find my map view that's floating around and set its map to the map I just made. So this is kind of the example how it's done by ESRI. Okay. So this is one way to solve it, but we'll run it, and I'll show you an artifact of doing it this way. So I'm going to zoom into Vancouver, and I'll switch the base map to oceans. Now the base map switched out, but I zoomed out to level of detail 1, location 0, 0. Right, and so that would drive if your user spent all their time locating themselves, right? I want to go here, and they want to get it just right, and then they go, okay, yeah, this is where I want to be, right here on this point, and then it go, okay, switch the base map quick. Okay, now I've lost where I was. Okay, so not such a great idea. And so what we can do is there is a way that can we preserve what I was just looking at. So yeah, there is a way to do that. So there's some, we make an ESRI polygon. Make sure we get the right one. ESRI runtime polygon. I'll call it view area. And I'll get the current view area from the map view that's floating around. Get visible area. Maybe I'll match up those names. Visible area. Yeah. That looks nice and clean. So Nice suggestions too by IntelliJ. So get visible area. And then what I can do is, even after I set the map, I can go back to the map view and tell it to zoom back to where it was previously looking, right? So map view dot set viewpoint by geometry asynchronously, that's what the big long name means, to the visible area. At least when I do it this way, I'll stay in position. Okay. So let's say I'll go over here, right, down to Blackie Spit, and then swap out to imagery. At least I stayed at Blackie Spit, right? And that sort of thing. But little Stonehenge thing happening there. But there's a problem with that. By tearing out the whole map, right? A base layer is just one thing that can be in a map. You could have a whole bunch of other layers loaded in the map, and you could even have a graphics container that you're drawing on. And if you rip it out like that, then you'll lose all those other layers and whatever you had on the graphics container as well. So the thing is, what you really want to do is you say, look, I just want to have a base map, basically. So I'm going to show you a different way to do it, right? And that. We can still do it this way, right? Make a map in the background. And then simply go set the map view's base map. Let's get back up there. I guess I should say dot get map first, dot set base map to the base map of the map I just made above. Get get base map right there. Okay. So let's see what happens there. That way I'm not messing around with what I'm looking at, right? I'm just sliding out the base map of the map. So we're going to run this. There's going to be an error, but we'll fix that. And again, I'll zoom in, Hudson Bay, and then switch. And I got an error. Let's go see what it says. So there was an exception for MESRI at runtime. It says this object's already owned. So we can't share layers between maps. What are we going to do? Well, if we go on there's a copy method to clone it, which we'll talk about in lecture, right? So we'll clone that base map. And now let's see if that works, right? And if we just simply swap out the base map, then it's pretty safe. Because we wouldn't lose all the other layers we had loaded. We wouldn't lose anything that we have on the graphics container either. So again, we'll try to see if that works. That's working fine. All right, OpenStreetMap, base maps are. And we're not actually zooming out and zooming back in either, right? Doing a big call, hey, go get me all these tiles. No, I'm in a different spot. Give me different tiles, right? So that's not happening. So that's working a little bit better. So I think if you go to the ISRI example, you'll see where they're not doing this. And I think this is actually a better way to do it. Okay, so for now, this concludes this video.